Hi, this is LT Survival. In today's video, episode 14 of the book club, we'll check out Survive from Les Stroud. Stay tuned, we'll be right back. Well, as I was reading this book, I found out that, Les Stroud, I knew was a Canadian, first of all, and he's the creator of the show, the TV show Survivorman. He's still at the process of making some more episodes, and this book was recommended by a few other YouTubers. And this book, his secondary title is Essential Skill and Tactics to Get Out of Anywhere Alive. This book is based on no-nonsense approach. He doesn't frill with either bushcrafting itself or specific techniques or approach. He's more of a overall approach in modernity, if I can say so. His approach will, if you prepare yourself, you will bring with you what's needed to survive. The what if material. So basically, he's based his approach on being rescued right away. Don't, as much as possible, to being rescued in the first 72 hours. So the book is a little different from others that say that you can drive into the forest. His approach is first being recovered and then make what you need. And he goes further as you go along in the books, a little further in the back. It's more of a woodworking stuff, making a little more complex equipment. Not this one, sorry. Well, a little more complex equipment, but not much. I mean, he's staying very light on bushcraft stuff for survival. There is things you can make to help you survive, but he's not emphasizing it too much. I'm going to bring my notes because I try to have the best notes I can. So, it's a well-designed book. I mean, it approached survival, as I said, from the no-nonsense aspect. Your ultimate goal with it will be to be recovered as fast as possible. He's starting the book, and I'm going to go through the chapters by preparing and trip planning. So basically, what do you bring in the trip? It's a day trip, it's a week trip, it's a small incursion in the forest, it's a long incursion, it's a trip you want to try to put yourself to a test. You'll bring different equipment depending on how far, how long, and where you're going to go. And basically, you're going to bring the what if, and as per that, it'll grow in the next chapter. It'll go to survival kit, from the most simplest Altoid type survival kit to the most complete that includes sat phones, spot system that are GPS electronic beacon locator, okay, that the search and rescue will be locating you with. So he's approaching all those things, not saying that you should or should not, but you should make the decision if you are to bring one of those items. Of course, technological items can fail. Battery can not survive. Cold will kill your battery twice as fast, 5 times as fast, depending on the cold, depending on where you keep the battery itself. So, and then he goes a little further into psychological aspects, signaling the objective being rescued. Water, fire, shelter, food, survival, travel, and navigation, which is not travel and navigation as per you would do when you do an excursion. Danger and hazard, of course, like wildlife dangers, hazards, water crossing, things like that. The weather, clothing, which is your first shelter, and first aid, and some essential skills to survival. That would be making knots, weaving baskets, things like that, that you could need, but they all go to the simplest skill. So that way it doesn't go into 50 knots, it'll go in 5, 7, 8 knots, the most that you're going to be using. And then he touched a bit about a chapter about disaster preparation, which basically reapplies all the other chapters to what if scenarios. You are in a disaster zone, where if you found yourself surviving a disaster. And then it goes again through all of the chapters, the different shelter, food, fire, and it'll tell you which priority you might want to have depending on where you are and what you have. And then he gives you checklist at the end. You have a whole place where you have checklists: basic survival kit, what you should find in them, complete survival kit, vehicle kit, and their basis, first aid kit checklist, and then home survival checklist, and then other useful item. And he gives you a couple of pages of fire starters, so you can rip this book apart and burn it if need be to start a fire. So his approach is really good. It's not theoretical. The guy with Survivorman had to put himself into situations. His approach to the show was as close to reality as we can put it in a TV show. Of course, it's a TV show, so he's not going to put himself into death, but it might be very close to, if this thing goes on, will become dangerous to die into. So it's not a bad guy. The guy doesn't believe into not using technology. He doesn't believe into not deciding what you're going to bring, and that might just keep you away from having to survive. But if you have to survive, at least you'll be a little more prepared. And all along the book, and I'll put some image of close-up, we'll have Stroud's tip, all kinds of survival tip that you might have according to the chapter you are in. Here's one of them that's kind of interesting. It might go against some way people do things. Some people think it's a good idea to waterproof their match by dipping them in wax. Leave that to the gear geek. Instead, buy solid strike anywhere match and invest in a good waterproof container. If your match are waterproof by the container, it might not need to be waterproof inside the container. And wax sometimes is difficult to take off the tip and start your match, unless you really want to extend the burning time of your match. So and then it's not the same thing. You want a fire starter. So this is a good book. There's good info. There's really good info into this book, and I would highly recommend this one. It touches most environment, and it gives you the basis to explore your own and to expand upon the knowledge you'll gain in that. That's a really good read. I've read that one in about a month, and in a month because I'm not reading every day, every hour, but I'm reading it on lost time, and it gives you all kinds of techniques and tips and what to do. So I highly recommend this one. If you can get your hand on it, do so. And it's a good book to add to your home. Trying to figure out where my screen is, and to put in your your shelves and read this one. It's a good reference book. So if you like this review, please give it the thumbs up. Share and subscribe as usual, and we'll see you in the next video.